All right, welcome back to the Start the Rebuild podcast, otherwise known as the STR podcast. I'm your co-host Tim Fournier alongside Ian Mills.
What's going on, everybody? It's episode 39. 39. We're one away from 40, but we're on 39. The Steven Jackson episode. Low
Got
key,
the what's that?
one of the. I love Steven Jackson, one of the best Madden running backs of all time. You could always
Yep.
trade for him back in like Madden 12. But sorry, yes, there are other players as well.
I feel like Steven Jackson and Maurice Jones-Drew, like when you're our age and you were a kid, they were the first running backs that were like, whoa, they're a 90 overall in Madden that you like didn't even know who they were, and then you're like, I love this guy. You know, like
Yes.
you didn't even know who he was, but like because you played Madden and you were like, whoa, who is this dude?
Frank Gore fell into that category
Mm.
for me because the
Jamal
Niners
Charles.
early on because the Niners were bad. But also,
We got the first one that came to mind for me was Eddie Jackson,
mm,
39. Another safety in Minkah Fitzpatrick,
mm,
popular safety number for some reason. And then we did go over this last time. Early career Jerami Grant,
yeah,
Syracuse product, 39. And then also Dwight Howard on the Lakers.
very random. I got Cam Lewis, current Bills jack of all trades defensive back, whether he's a nickel or safety, kind of is the backup for both. And then, of course, Levi Wallace, former Bill,
A lot of Bills secondary members.
former Steeler too. I don't think he's on the Steelers anymore, but
Um, Definitely was at some point. He low key played this past year on the Steelers.
Levi Wallace, yeah, I think he did, but I think he was cut halfway through. Levi Wallace, product of Alabama. Cam Lewis, product of University of Buffalo.
Hmm. There you go.
So Levi
Um,
Wallace was seventh round pick out of Alabama. They don't usually have seventh round picks, Alabama, no, usually it's not.
so here's my main question. What's the difference in the grand existence of Levi Wallace and Rasul Douglas? I just realized that they're the same person in my head.
Very different people. Rasul Douglas was I think I don't know if he was undrafted or a seventh round pick, but he basically was like battling to stay in the NFL early in his career, won a Super Bowl, I think his rookie year with the Eagles. And then he was bouncing around. He was on like five different teams.
He's good on the
And
Packers, right?
and then he was on someone's practice squad. He was on like five different teams, like practice squads, off season stuff. And then the Packers picked him up off the practice squad in like 20, it was a long time ago. It was like 4 or 5 seasons ago. And then he was like a backup. They had injuries. He kind of came in. I think it was like, remember that guy like Isaac Yiadom, like
Got him.
Yadom?
Yeah.
Got him. I think he he was
I think
having
he
a bad
just had a
game,
good
so they
year
put him
on the
somewhere.
Broncos or something
Either way,
last year.
Rasul Douglas came in, became a starter for them, played like 3, 4 seasons, and then the Bills traded for him. Very good dude, I'll say that much. Very, very, very funny individual. Good with his answers, and also very good. Last year he had like 5 interceptions and like 8 games with the Bills. Um, don't think he had. I don't think he had any interception this year, but
Hey man, I think that's why they just are the same people in my head because they're both journeyman corners that wore 39 for the Bills.
no, Rasul Douglas doesn't wear 39.
Oh,
Cam
yeah, I'm saying Cam Lewis does.
Cam Lewis does.
Journeyman corner on the Bills.
Cam Lewis isn't a journeyman, but yes. Oh, you're talking about Rasul
I'm
Douglas. Yeah.
saying Douglas and Wallace, yeah. And
Yes.
it's
Rasul
been
Douglas, I think right now, Rasul Douglas, well, the thing with the Levi Wallace is that he just is younger, I think. I think he's younger. And he hasn't had as good of a career as Rasul Douglas. But yeah, that's fair. I understand what you're getting at.
very fair. But what's new, man? For some reason, now every time we do these, even though it's a week apart every time, I still feel like it's been so long.
I agree. I don't know what's happening
I don't know
and
why. Like time's just moving slower or something.
Yeah,
I've been busier personally, so I guess maybe that's it.
yeah, I have too. But yeah, I'm in New Jersey, home of the Devils, home of the Nets. Well, former home of the Nets, not current home of the Nets. Visiting my girlfriend, which is good. So that's exciting. Got in last night. Yesterday was a lot of driving.
Mm.
5 hours of driving. Stopped twice. Got some food.
What was
But
the
yeah,
go-to stop for food?
what's that?
What was the go-to stop for food?
So I usually Binghamton's the halfway point between where I live and where she lives.
Mm.
So always stop in Binghamton, and I have a lot of connections in Binghamton. So I'll send people texts like, "Yo, I'll grab lunch," and then I'll grab lunch with a friend, and that'll be nice. Went to Old Union Hotel. It's the
Oh,
best.
Old Union. I know
Yeah,
where that is.
yeah. I was gonna say, I was like, why would you know Old Union? It has the best wings in Binghamton. I didn't get wings, but it has the best wings in Binghamton. But otherwise, right now, I had my buddy come up last weekend
Cool.
for to hang out, and that was a lot of fun. It was like the first time I've really like done a lot on my weekend where I'm like going out and doing things. Like we went to a golf simulator, we went to like a barcade, um, we went to like the Genesee Brew House in
Mhm.
Rochester. Never been before.
I don't
Highly
think
recommend it.
there's
That was
yeah.
a lot of fun. But
That's elite.
how about yourself?
Elite. I've been working on my new internship, which has been good. Learning a lot, good people. So I guess that's part of why I feel busier. It was just my birthday last
Yes.
weekend. Um, ate and drank way too much. Uh, you could find me uh Sunday morning at 2 a.m. on my bathroom floor. So, you know, good night, I guess you could say. Uh, no, yeah, it was very fun, and I ate so much. And I don't know if we were talking about it before. I've been like dieting like pretty hard, and I had gotten down to 180, which was like really good, feeling really lean. And then I just like binged my face off Saturday for my birthday, and then Sunday as well, kind of for the Super Bowl and everything. So my body is recovering this week, but just about back to where I was. So not a huge deal, but I'm trying to lock in before next weekend. We both have a wedding to attend, going to the same one. We're getting married, and then
The two of us are getting married together.
and
I
then
forgot to tell you guys.
yeah, the STR podcast is, you know, getting to new heights on levels of our connection.
If you guys comment, you can come to the wedding. You can be in the bridal party if you comment.
Yeah, the best woman's gonna be Will Anderson.
Yes.
Um, and the week after that, I go to Milan for study abroad for school. Study abroad. It's for 1 week, but it's like a trip that's like you actually need to do it to like graduate. It's actually like kind
Cool.
of crazy. But so I'm really trying to lock in before then, and then probably gonna have to lock in again after that because I want to be really lean for summer,
Yeah.
be feeling good.
No, I hear that. I hear that. Yeah, I was doing like again last weekend, like ate a lot. Like it was sort of I had a garbage plate for the first time in a long time, and
Where?
it was so good. It was such a good call. I didn't even finish it. There was so much food. I haven't eaten this much in a long time, but it was good. It was one of those things where I was like, I appreciate that. And then this weekend I'm in Jersey and it's Valentine's Day and we're gonna go to some very expensive restaurants and
Ooh.
I'm not gonna not eat there.
Eh.
I'm gonna, probably try to not eat a lot before, but I'm gonna if I'm paying for that food, I'm gonna eat that food. Um, so I get it. I hear you. It's like one of those things where it's like you almost feel guilty at this a little bit, but then at the end of the day, it's like, well, no, you gotta
Gotta
live.
live a little.
You gotta live for sure. And so it was a good birthday though. That's good to hear.
Yeah, it was a very good birthday. I had a friend from college come visit, so that was fun. And yeah, other big news, personal news. sort of, with my social media content. I just hit 10,000 followers.
Ooh, ooh, there
Yeah,
we go. It's exciting.
kind of cool.
Very cool.
Kind of something to write home about. But yeah, other than that, life is just kind of like chugging along. I feel like this is a very like um low point of the year, just in general.
Post Super Bowl, before baseball, college basketball is not that important right now. I can see where you're getting at a little
Yeah,
bit.
definitely in a sports sense. I mean, it's literally the All-Star break for the NBA, so that's not even happening now. Just kind of like, I don't know, everyone kind of sprints to the end of the year with the holidays and everything. And then people are like, whoa, now I gotta like get back to like real life in January. And then February is just kind of like an extension of that. And people are like, and it's still cold and I don't know.
I definitely feel like less motivated, well, not even less motivated, but I definitely feel different now than I did like last month. Like last month, it was like, oh, it's a new year. I'm gonna do all these things and
Hmm.
try to better myself. Not that I'm not doing those now. I definitely am still trying to do it, but I definitely feel like I'm like almost like, all right, relax a little bit, and not
Yeah.
relaxing not relaxing like my in like what my days off are like, but trying to be more manageable with those resolutions, if you will. Because like, dude, at work, I've been like in the weirdest headspace possible, where I'm like pushing, like, my job requires me to write, obviously,
Hmm.
and I've had like really weird writer's block. And it's not that I can't write. Like I'll write something. I'll write a script. I'll be like, this is good. And then I'll start to work on it. And then I'll be like, this is horrible, scrap it, do the whole thing over again. And I'll do that like 3 or 4 times, like with
Hmm.
every feature I do. And it's driving me crazy. Um,
Why do you think that is?
I don't know exactly. Like I'm not exactly sure. And it's one of those things where it's like maybe I just need a couple days off, and that's good because I'm in New Jersey. Hopefully that's
Hmm.
the fix. You never know. But it's one of those things where it's like the last like week and a half is really, it's like I can't even really tell if I'm doing good work because my mind is, it's always on like negative mode. It's always trying to like, hey, this is bad. Hey, this is bad. Hey, this is bad. Why are you doing that? Why are you doing that? And it's like that's not a good thing to think about. And it's like I don't know why typically I'm very critical of myself, but it's usually like I can tell if I'm doing something good. And right now it's like I'm not allowing myself that opportunity,
Yeah,
if
that's
that
what I was going to ask. I was going to say, do you think maybe it's because your like standards have been raised?
I think that's part of it. I do think that is part of it where it's like I think I might have talked about this in the pod, but I was doing a bunch of features and I had one of my coworkers who's been there a long time, does incredible work, is a reporter who's been around for a long time and won a lot of awards and whatnot. And his work is incredible. Like I'll watch his work and be like, how does this guy do it? And he came up to me and he was like, hey, I just want to say that piece you did on blah 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 is great. Like basically I'm almost like there was like before this stretch, there was a week of me being like, oh, I'm getting good at this. Oh, I'm getting good at this. And
Hmm.
now it's like, falling back into that where it's like, you're probably right. It's a little bit about my own expectations being raised for myself. Um, but we'll see. I mean, it's one of those things where it's almost a good thing because you want it's a natural inclination of trying to get better and wanting to get better, but it is also paralysis by analysis in a lot of ways where it's like if I'm consistently scrapping my own work, think this is bad, then I can never get the work done if that makes sense.
Right.
So
Yeah,
that's
it's a
it.
hard balance,
Yeah,
but
but
imperfect action will always trump inaction.
indubitably. Indubitably, I
Yeah.
agree. But so we'll keep tabs on that. See when that lies down in a couple. couple weeks. But how's your internship treating you?
It's good. It's nice to just like get into this routine of like honestly just like going to work. As
Yeah,
like weird as that sounds. Um, and it's starting off just 2 days a week, and it's going to ramp up to three and then more. Um, which is good. I'm doing a lot of like grunt work stuff, but that's fine. I'm still just like learning the ropes of everything, so very helpful for me. And honestly, the biggest thing is like I have a lot of dumb questions because I'm very new, and they are just like very receptive, and they'll take the time to explain stuff to me. So it's I'm definitely getting a lot out of it, which is huge.
good.
And they're very flexible with everything, which is nice with school. Um, but yeah, I mean that's all I really have to say for now. I've only been doing it a couple weeks, and yeah, I really like it.
Yeah, that's good. It's good to be surrounded by like coworkers and bosses who actually like want to take the time to teach you, you know,
Yeah,
especially in
they don't
internship.
make me feel like dumb for asking dumb questions either, you know?
Yeah. Um, Also, the Super Bowl did happen. We should probably just mention
Yeah.
3 words each. 3 words each.
Yeah. All right, you start.
Me happy halftime. Those are the 3 words I
Hmm.
think. Yeah, you can go 3 words.
I'm gonna go.
If you include me, I could have gotten rid of me, but it seems unimportant.
I'm gonna go Eagles,
Mm,
big guys.
mm,
I think
mm.
we're gonna see a massive shift from like the NFL blueprint of how to be good. Go from like you need the greatest quarterback of all time and you like that's the only way to compete to if we just have an elite offensive and defensive line, like you can get away with average quarterback play and win a Super Bowl.
Well, the only hole in that theory.
Is that the
Let's say the
Eagles
Chiefs.
good everywhere?
Let's say the Chiefs have the exact same offensive line and defensive line as the Eagles
Hmm.
on Sunday. I don't think like Mahomes was bad. It was one of his worst games ever. But if Jalen Hurts is going up against the same exact defensive line that Mahomes went up to, I don't think he's going to play as well as you know what I
No,
mean?
I
Like
agree. I'm just saying that I feel like it's been kind of the narrative that you can only win a Super Bowl unless your quarterback is like a top five quarterback, if not better.
yeah, it's just impossible. Like how often do we see a team that can get pressure with four against a good offensive line?
Hmm.
It
Not
doesn't
that
really happen.
often, and especially to that level. I'm just
Yeah.
saying, like, I think the Eagles won a Super Bowl because of team building rather than they
Sure.
just like got essentially lucky and had a elite all-time quarterback. And they're
Yeah,
still like set up to have like consistent success.
I agree.
Like it
I
also
agree.
wasn't just a 1 year fluke.
Yeah.
Like
No,
this
I
is
think
the
that's
only Super
fair.
Bowl they've gone to. And I
I
think it's
think that's
because
fair.
they invest more than anyone else in their offensive and defensive line.
So Eagles defensive line coach Clint Hurt, Rochester guy,
Really?
went to Gates Chili.
Let's go.
So
Clint,
I'm from Rochester. We're from Rochester.
represent.
Um, but yeah, no, their D line was incredible. It was ridiculous. It also kind of like the Chiefs have had offensive line struggle all year. Especially the tackle positions. And so they tried to remedy in that situation a little bit. But it obviously didn't matter with the Eagles. It makes me look at like the Bills game and I'm like, could have gotten more should probably should have got more pressure on Mahomes, what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
that's
But
very fair.
uh but yeah, I agree. I mean, I think like it's always like it's so funny because like sometimes you'll hear people be like they'll be like, oh, that's how you stop Mahomes. You get pressure with four and then you have eight in coverage. Why didn't we think of that? And it's like,
Having pressure with 4 and 8 in coverage would definitely stop a lot of people, considering that's 12 people. But yeah.
oh, so you're right, you're right. Good point. But my point is like, yeah, no quarterback is good at that. Like in the
Oh
same
yeah.
thing, and
I
it's
mean,
like
the solution is to cover everyone and get pressure.
yeah. And the same conversation happened with Peyton Manning, like at some points in the screen. Probably the same with Brady, where it was like, if you want to beat Brady, you have to get pressure. And it's like, well, most quarterbacks are not good like when they're under pressure because they don't have time. And it's like if there's someone open, but if you have seven in coverage, then whatever. It's just stupid. I also another debate that's been stupid is that Pat Mahomes is out of the GOAT conversation at the age of 29 years old because he lost a Super Bowl.
Yeah, no, it's dumb.
What are we doing? What are we talking about?
Brady
Like,
literally is the greatest of all time because of what he did from ages like 35 to 44.
correct. Brady was 3-2 in his first Super Bowls. And people will say, well, he didn't get blown out. Mahomes has gotten blown out in Super Bowls. Brady lost as a 13 and a half favorite in the Super Bowl.
Hmm.
That's pretty significant
Brady
too.
also got like essentially carried for the first few.
He was seen as like a Brock Purdy type. Yeah, his first
Yeah.
couple Super Bowls. Um, that's true. I mean, and this isn't to take anything. We're not taking anything away from Tom Brady,
No, but it's to
but
say
it's like
out is just dumb too.
to act as if Pat
But
Mahomes is
Brady announced the game in one and beat him in the other.
what? What? Yeah, it's like yeah. I mean, it's stupid. I understand people would have been like, well, the three-peat would have given Mahomes a lot of traction
Mm.
to like run up the GOAT debate, and I agree with that. Like Mahomes had a chance to really dig into his case, and he didn't because he lost, and it wasn't a particularly close game. But certainly, it's not over. He's 29 and has been the earliest his season has ended is the AFC Championship.
Yeah, that's the other thing that annoys me, and this is what like you really get into in like the LeBron debate is like why does people are gonna use this year and him losing in the Super Bowl as more of a negative than a couple years ago when they lost to the the Bengals in the AFC Championship when they like blew a lead and he played bad.
Yep.
Like people will use this as more of a negative when like he like getting to the Super Bowl and playing well enough to get there. Like he had a better like he got further this year than he did that year, but this year will be looked at as more of a negative.
Yeah, if he right, you're right. If the let's say he had lost to the Bills in the AFC Championship,
He would have been higher up in like closer
the
to
GOAT,
Brady in the GOAT debate in
right,
people's eyes,
exactly. And
which is dumb.
it's like Brady won what, 7-3 in the Super Bowls, right? 7-3.
Yes.
Imagine Mahomes goes like 7-2. He rips off, four more and doesn't lose in one. People are gonna act as if that's better than Brady's, but it's like what he went to less. Like he did go to less.
Right.
Then if he goes to somehow, I don't know how this mathematically would happen, but it certainly is possible. If he goes to like 14 Super Bowls and goes 7-7, maybe that's a bit much. But if his Super Bowl record is like 500, but he somehow matches Tom Brady in Super Bowl wins, then like what's the conversation there? And it's like if you go to 14 Super Bowls, man, like you're the GOAT. Like I don't care. You might have gone 0-14 in those. I don't care. Like whatever, but. It's just a stupid conversation. I agree. And Brady said it coming into the week that he was like, and I kind of agree with him. And this is the only piece of like credibility I'll give to that debate. He's like, my worst losses. People do not remember losing in the AFC Championship to the Ravens, or they don't. They're not like, oh,
Mhm.
Tom Brady lost in the AFC Championship. He's like, the only losses people bring up with Tom Brady are his Super Bowl losses.
Mhm.
And that's what he said. He was like, that's what people remember, which to some degree all agree to that, that like, yeah, that's what sticks in people's minds, but it shouldn't give credence to that debate.
Yeah,
Mahomes
and
is still
like
very within his account.
I honestly, if I'm being honest with myself, I have to like remind myself of what I just said though. Like the Mahomes losing this year versus 2 years ago against the Bengals, like he had a better, like he got further this year than he did that year. But like my first like instinct is like, oh, losing in the Super Bowl is worse, but then I have to like work through the logic of being like, well, it's actually not.
Right, right.
So, I don't know.
No, it's like it's a natural
Yeah.
thought, but because it's a bigger stage, and if you're there, then you don't want to lose. Like,
Yeah, it's just weird to think about how he would have benefited if Josh Allen drove down the field and scored a touchdown and he lost. Technically, that would have been a better outcome than what just happened. And it's like,
it's a weird, yeah,
or if he like threw one more interception against the Bills, like he would have had a better outcome to his season than winning that game.
yeah. You
Maybe.
want him to be 3-1 in the Super Bowl, but not get to the Super Bowl another time.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just it's people acting like Brady never lost in the Super Bowl, and he did, and it's fine that he did, you know. But like, don't try to act like Mahomes because Mahomes lost in the Super Bowl that he's somehow infinitely worse. It's like, no, that's not. Stop. Let's not. People just need something to talk about because I don't think the Eagles are a very interesting team. In terms of like people like personnel, not personality. I'm not saying they're not interesting personalities, but like I feel like they're not. You know, there's not a lot of headlines with them because Jalen Hurts is like it's just like Jalen Hurts. The number one thing you can say about him, he just seems like a good dude. Seems like a very good person, and it's like that's cool to root for. But I
Yeah.
don't think like Colin Cowherd is going to be on a show. Jalen Hurts donates blah 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 to charity every year.
Yeah.
Like it's just not gonna
Yeah.
get type of
Also,
Mahomes thing.
like, did we just like not realize that the Eagles were the most dominant team ever, like all year?
But they weren't the one seed.
I know. But like once the playoffs, I mean, I guess the Rams game, even the Rams game, it felt like they were just a way better team and they were just like not they were like we're gonna like and then like the Commanders game, they just destroyed them and then obviously destroyed the Chiefs. And it's like did they just like go through the motions all year and then like when it finally eventually
Well,
they
dude,
when it was time to like care, they were just like the best team ever?
they haven't lost since like week 4. Like it was
I guess
like they or no, they lost to the Commanders, didn't they? Right.
yeah, but like Kenny Pickett played and
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
so
You're
like
right.
did they really lose?
Yeah, they lost to the Falcons in week 2 and the Bucks in week 4, and after that they didn't lose
Other
with
than
Jalen
that game.
Hurts playing. And
Yeah.
that's they had a one-score game with the Jaguars.
That like that's sort of like they didn't look like they were winning these games, but they didn't look like dominant. I thought they were a very good team, don't get me wrong, but I thought eventually the inconsistencies would like catch up to them.
I
And I
agree.
mean, they didn't have to play the Lions.
Well,
And even if they did, the Lions were very banged up.
my thing is more um Saquon didn't even like the entire year it was like Saquon's their engine, Saquon's their offensive engine, yada yada yada, and I agreed with it. And he doesn't even he has 57 rushing yards on 25 attempts. It's like
Obviously, he has like impacts further than that in like the
no,
way.
no, I'm not like
Yeah.
right. I'm just saying like if you had told me before the game,
Saquon runs for 50 yards, it'd be like, oh, Chiefs won.
yeah, exactly. I'm looking at the defensive stats for the regular season. I mean, the Eagles did give up the least yards per game this year by a significant
Yeah,
margin.
they were very good.
Um,
I just thought
point
the
they're
offensive
second in points.
inconsistencies would eventually matter.
What's that?
I just thought the offensive inconsistencies would eventually matter, and then Jalen Hurts just decided to play really well. So,
Well, remember Jalen Hurts got hurt, and then it was like, well, is Jalen Hurts going to be back? Is he going to be back? And then like it was like the Packers game, we were sort of just like he was like they didn't look great, like the offense didn't look great, and it was sort of like, well.
and they were never really in jeopardy of losing that game either.
Right. And so it was like I was like the Eagles won, but you didn't really you're not gonna believe a lot in Jalen Hurts. Not that it not that it was just because he didn't do much. And then the same thing with the Eagles game. It was kind of like, well, they were, he yeah, he was 15 for 20, 128 yards and sacked like a million. He was sacked 7 times in that game. And so it was like, well, are you really gonna believe in Jalen Hurts? Because at that point we didn't know if he was hurt.
Hmm.
And then, they rushed for 7 touchdowns against the Commanders. And so it's sort of like you really had no opportunity to think of Jalen Hurts as anything more than just like the guy who hands off to Saquon Barkley.
Right.
And, it's sort of like a system guy. And then he goes out and balls out in the playoffs or in the Super Bowl and outplays Mahomes and deserves all the credit in the world for that. Um, but Yeah, it's like I think it comes more down to we all knew the defense was really good. We knew they could run the ball. We knew they had a good offensive line, and it was just sort of like what is Jalen Hurts? We don't know. And turns out, well, at least for the Super Bowl, he was very good. And there's listen, the Eagles were good all season. I picked them to win the NFC. I'm happy that
Yeah, I picked them preseason as well. The only problem is I picked them to play the Jets.
Aaron Rodgers, he's gone.
Yeah,
Aaron Rodgers
I wonder
is
what's gonna
gone.
happen there. Want to know what my
Uh,
prediction is for that?
let's hear it.
He goes to the Raiders.
A little Brady Rogers
Yeah,
reunion. Not
he's
even
gonna be like, I
reunion.
think old quarterbacks can work.
So my thing is this. There's 4 or 5 teams who need a quarterback. Titans, Browns, Giants, Raiders. Am I missing one?
Uh,
Those are the big four for sure.
I mean Jets. Did you say Jets?
Yeah. I mean, I'm gonna take them out of this equation for the just I don't think he's coming back to the Jets. Um,
Well, they
and
told him he's
Steelers.
not. Yeah.
You could add the Steelers too into that pool. In terms of free agents, you have Sam Darnold, who might not even be a free agent. We don't know. Rodgers, Russell Wilson, those are kind of the guys you would feel good about starting. And you
Fields.
might not even feel good about starting Russ. What did you just say?
Fields.
Yeah, you could probably throw Fields in that. And then you have 2 rookie quarterbacks who probably are going to go top 10 in Shadur and Cam Ward. And then other than that, someone's going to convince himself into like Jackson Dart, probably. It really comes down to like if the Titans want to pick a quarterback first overall. Because if
Mhm.
they watch the Super Bowl and they're like who the like Abdul Carter, if they're like that's intriguing. Like we'll just do that and then sign one of these guys. Because if that happens, then I think it's realistic that a Russ or a Rodgers is like, you know what, maybe the Titans or something. Which is crazy to say because of the Tennessee Titans, but you never know. Uh,
Mhm.
But if it's like Shadur and Cam 1 and 2 right off the top, which I don't think it will be, but if it is, then the Giants are like, you know what? Like, hey, Rodgers, you don't even have to move. You can just stick around here, don't have to buy a new condo. You can just hang out here. Um, but I mean, I think the Raiders, the Brady thing, I get it. I could see it.
Because I just don't think the Raiders are going to have the chance to draft someone.
They won't, but the Giants might not either. And the Steelers definitely won't.
I think, yeah.
It's
I
also
don't know.
realistic. It's also very realistic that you would sign Rodgers for a year and also draft a guy.
Yeah, I mean,
This
that's fair.
just because I mean, I think even he would admit. he's probably not going to be around for much, like 1 year, two max.
Right.
Um, and so in his mind, he's probably like, well, I want to win a Super Bowl, you know? But uh,
Yeah, I
the
mean, part of it's like if you're Rodgers, like, do you even play if you don't feel like you could win a Super Bowl?
right, what are you
Like, what would be
playing?
the point of going to the Titans? Like, why? Like, why?
Just like saying, just to have the jersey,
Yeah, like,
just to have the Houston Oilers jersey, you know?
yeah. So even I guess when I'm saying the Raiders, like,
But he can probably convince himself of anything right now. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. Like it's a good thing to have that confidence in yourself. But like in his mind, he's probably like, well, listen, if you put me on an average roster, I can take him to the playoffs. And in the right division, he's probably right. You put him on the Steelers. They're better than they were last year, maybe,
I think
probably.
if you put him on the Steelers, you have hope, and they've shown that they can like just make the playoffs with
Yeah,
bad quarterback play.
right. It's
So
just it's
that's a good
is
point.
like Mike Tomlin seems like a very like I don't know if Mike Tomlin's gonna want the Pat McAfee show and the all
Yeah,
this
that's
stuff.
very fair, but I also feel like he's someone that wouldn't get pushed around by Rodgers.
That's true. I mean, listen, George Pickens is literally on the Steelers right now as we speak. Like, it's not that Mike Tomlin doesn't do the extra stuff and the drama stuff. It's just that I just think you're right. I think it doesn't bother him. Like, I think he doesn't let it get to him. And a lot of
That's a good
coaches
point.
drive it drive
The
it crazy.
Steelers.
Maybe it's the Steelers. Maybe the Steelers are. You know what? Super Bowl 60, Pittsburgh Steelers versus the San Francisco 49ers,
Mm.
old school, Super Bowl 60. It's got to be historical teams. Aaron Rodgers versus Tom Brady comes out of retirement, sells his stake in the Raiders, goes
Rodgers
back
versus
to the
the
Niners.
Niners again,
And it's just, whew, it's going to be,
this time for a ring.
oh, I can't wait, man.
Wow,
Where's the Super Bowl
it's
next
gonna be
year?
crazy. It's
I
gonna
have
be
no.
crazy.
LeBron decides he wants to play football, becomes tight end for the Buffalo Bills.
Dude, that would be so amazing if LeBron was just like he retired from the NBA and he's like, you know what? There's only one thing I can't win an NBA championship, I'm done. The one thing I could possibly do in the GOAT debate is to win an
Us-
NFL Super Bowl. And then I'll be one step closer.
yeah, in this,
Do you think
that
if he won a Super Bowl, even if it was just like the smallest role ever, that it would legitimately like up him in GOAT debates
I
for no
think it would. I think it would
in the
because
public eye, it definitely would, which is so funny to think about. Like him winning a Super Bowl would like improve his chances of being the best basketball player of all time.
yeah, what people would say, and they already do say this a little bit. They'd be like LeBron is the greatest athlete, like the
Oh,
most
he would
athletic
lock that
person.
up.
Like that would be like the number one greatest American athlete of all time. Give it to him, who cares, whatever. Throw away the key. Then of course there's going to be the people who do the whole well, this is basketball. It's not,
Yeah.
but like, come on, like, dude, Michael Jordan, because Michael Jordan didn't play baseball. Like, he did go and he left to play another sport as well, and he didn't do it very well. Like, he was not particularly good.
Travis Kelce retires. Who are the Chiefs gonna call to replace him at tight end? The
Andy Reid,
best
Hogan.
basketball player of all time.
I I would love that. It would be so funny though if he did it and just went to like the Panthers. Like he was like a practice squad tight end on like
Yeah.
the Panthers, and like the media every day is like seeing him practice. Like, oh, can we talk to LeBron? Well, technically he's not on the roster, so
Dude, I mean, that's the place to do it. Kelsey retires.
yeah,
They've already had the media storm of Kelsey with Taylor Swift, so they're used to that. I mean, LeBron's like 40 years, like he's older than Kelsey, like considerably.
yeah. I want to see this man. I want to. I want
I
to.
want
I
to see
want
it so bad. And you just put him in like red zone packages. Like
to.
the Chiefs would be the team that are creative enough to like just scheme up like 2 touchdowns for him or something.
Yeah. Bro,
Oh my God, that would be
he's
amazing.
he's 6'10" and like the strongest human being on planet Earth. Like for his, for his size, it's like,
Yeah, I mean,
dude,
he'd put on some weight probably to play.
yeah, he'd probably have to bulk up a
He'd probably
little
have to
bit,
put on 15 pounds or something. Because a
drop
six
it.
foot eight, 240 pound tight end would be like very light, honestly.
Yeah.
Because normally for like a tight end, like if you're like you're big, if you're like
Just throw him a wide
6'5",
receiver.
60.
Just throw him a wide receiver and throw a fade. Like we hate fades, everyone hates fades, but just throw a fade to him once every like 3 games.
I mean, the what corner is like if you're a 6'3" corner, you're like huge. You're massive. So
Yeah.
what happens if the receiver is just 6'9"?
Yeah.
Obviously, there's like people in the like there's like 6'8" like Donald Parham or whatever.
Which one
Well,
of
why
the
can't LeBron be Donald Parham and
which
have
one
like
of
four
the
touchdowns?
which one of the Seahawks cornerback, Devin Witherspoon or Tariq Woolen is like 6'4"?
Won't.
Woolen. Just every Tariq Woolen just gets traded from every team, every single seat, like every game.
Like
They're like,
who's
"All right,
someone
we
in the
need
NFL or like Steph is 6'3" and LeBron looks like he could eat him.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Like, all right, yeah, that's what we need. We need LeBron to retire from the NFL or from the NFL, from the NBA,
NBA, go to the
and
NFL.
just say, screw it, I'm taking every like or maybe this is what he does. Ready? So he retires from the NBA at say 45. He
Okay,
leaves and takes like every performance enhancing drug for 1 year.
sure.
Takes a year off. Michael Jordan did it. Why can't he? And then
Yeah,
at age like 47, goes to the Chiefs. And at this point, Pat Mahomes is like like 30s, mid to high 30s ish. And then he just like catches 5 touchdowns and wins the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Best athlete of all time.
Best athlete of all time.
The
My
script
goat,
is written.
my glorious king. Uh, I love it. Better yet, the Lakers are good this year. Like the Lakers are legitimately very good this year. Win a finals with Luca in June, and then report to training camp like 3 weeks later. Just
Mm,
show up to a team. What are they going to tell you? No, just like show up. First day of practice, like uh uh who's the Chiefs GM Clark Hunt. He's like looking.
that's the
He's like
owner.
their owner. Brett Veach.
Brett Veach, yeah.
Brett Veach. He's just like, sitting there on the sideline, like, oh, who's it? Okay, we just drafted this guy, practice squad tight end, going down the line, checking all the boxes. Hey, I'm Brett. Nice to meet you. And then LeBron's just there. And he's like, oh, it's like, LeBron, like, did you want a tour of the facility? Like, we can give you, you're LeBron James. We can give you whatever you want. And
Do we
but
want Justin Watson or do we want LeBron?
he has shoulder pads on already. And Brett Beach is like, LeBron, where'd you get these shoulder pads? He's like, I just thought it'd be fun to try a couple drills with you guys. What's he
And
gonna
he,
say? No. He's not
he'd
gonna
be like,
say no
yeah,
to that.
man, bundle Rooski.
He's
And then
like,
they'll be like, yeah.
he's like a great giggly goo or whatever. And then he's like, you know what? Yeah, just run a couple packages. LeBron runs it as crisp as you've ever seen it. Don't know how because he was playing in the NBA Finals just last month or a month and a
In
half
high
ago.
school football.
And you're just like, what is this happening? And Mahomes is then like, I have my new favorite target. Basically, what you were just saying, but he needs to do it a month after winning the finals because then people are going to be like, how did he do this?
And then Mahomes gets hurt in the Super Bowl and they just put him at quarterback just cause.
Why not?
Triple
You're the
option,
give
50-year-old
the
LeBron.
give him the Kenny Pick give LeBron the Kenny Pickett special where
Mm,
Mahomes is up by 30 in the Super Bowl and you just throw LeBron at quarterback because you're not going to lose, right? And just let him
yeah,
throw a couple passes, take the kneel down.
work.
You know, we
Just
should write this in an email or a letter and
mm.
send it to his people.
Yeah, right after the email that says like why that we send to the Warriors, that's like, why don't you just put 4 people in a circle and have them all hold hands and then Steph Curry just shoot? Like, why don't
Send
you just do that every play?
send an email to the Knicks. Why don't you just have Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson kiss? Well, just distract the defense while Karl Anthony Towns.
It would work.
It would work. There's no rule against it. There's no rule against it.
All right, this is fully devolved. What are your goals for next week
Uh,
after the emails are written?
I
You
don't
said you
know.
had writer's block.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
this will cure my writer's block. Um, I guess just be find a way to I don't even want to say it's a rut because that's probably unfair because I do think I'm doing good work, but find a way to be better to myself in terms of my process and not be so hard on myself. Like again, it's not even I don't really fully understand what it is, but finding a way to get out of this rut and just do continue to do work I'm proud of, but do it in a process that makes me happy and not like super anxious because I'm like, oh, is this good? Is this bad? So find out what's going on there, figure it out, do it good, do it up.
sounds like you have a good
And
weekend to kind of relax and let that kind of work
yes,
through too.
that's going to be really nice is just kind of hanging out and not having to worry about work. That's been super, like literally waking up this morning and being like, what do I got to do for the next? Because like, Laurel's at work till 2. So I'm just kind of hanging out. So yeah. How about yourself?
My goal is definitely to stay dialed on my diet with all the stuff coming up, because that's really important to me, and it's been something I've just been like chipping away and working at for so long that I finally want to get to a spot where I'm like very proud of where I'm at and keep that. So it's going to be important to just like controlling what I can control, and on days where I don't have stuff to just like lock in and be perfect. And
That's gonna be good. Excited for that. Yeah.
heck yeah.
Heck yeah.
All right.
Um,
Well, if you
what
like,
question real
yeah,
quick.
what's up?
So we got a wedding next week. Are
Uh-huh.
you coming in just for one day?
I will be there Friday, Saturday, Sunday, leave Monday.
Maybe in-person pod?
Ooh, definitely could.
We talked
I'll
about that
be
off
I'll
here.
be in Friday afternoon, so we could do Friday night or
My
Sunday.
days off for Friday and Saturday, so
All right, let's tentatively plan on Friday night pod.
the viewers right now are shaking in their boots. Oh
God,
my goodness. Can't wait for in-person pod.
Ella has a boner.
Like they're like
Will, you've changed.
they're like, are Tim and Ying gonna kiss for the first time? And then we show up
It
and
would be a great distraction.
the in-person pod is the wedding.
Imagine we just live stream.
We're at the altar and we're like, all right, Tim, any goals for this week? Get married.
Say yes. Say
Say
I.
say yes to the dress. All right.
All right.
Bye.
Please leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe. Ian Rizface. This is probably our worst episode yet, but I kind of
I
like.
like it. The second half of this episode was great. I love this episode.
No, this was something.
I don't know how easy it was. I was basically asleep for the first like 15 minutes of this episode, and then
Woke up
I woke up.
and you just started dreaming about Josh Hart and Jalen Brunson. Yeah. Okay, goodbye, everybody.
Bye.